you're not going to still be addicted to whatever you were doing.
Yeah.
Right. And then you also, I want to make this point, is to be mindful that if you have those 5 or 6 credit cards, what do you do with them? Because like Nathan said, it's so easy to go online. So even if you cut them up, you can go online, get your credit card number, and use them again, and then you're back into full-blown addiction. So then they just send you another credit card with a date even further out, so you can continue to spend, and they can continue to increase your limits. I think that one of the things we should be mindful of is that you could hurt yourself. We touched on it a bit, by closing down credit cards, because then your FICO score will take a huge hit, because now you have less available credit than you started with. So we have to, if we decide to go down this road, like Ari said, really work with someone. Don't just, do the debt consolidation. Work with someone like Ari so that you make the right financial decision, because you spend less when you've had to go through that painstaking, long time period of getting out of debt the right way, which is to pay the cards off individually.
What's better, to come out of paying your credit cards off slow and painful, and maybe over the course of it you paid a couple $1,000s in interest, or doing debt consolidation and then having twice the amount of debt and then end up paying twice the amount of interest.
Right.
So yes, it is, everybody looks at, oh God, I'm paying this much interest to my credit cards, but it might actually save you money to simply pay off your credit cards.
Exactly.
Especially
if you get on a plan, and that's something that Ari can help you with, is to get on a plan to pay them off. It doesn't have to take what we think as a lifetime to pay these credit cards off. If we put together a plan, map it out, they can be paid off pretty quickly if you set your mind to it. That could be one of the resolutions or one of the things that you determine you want to do at the beginning of the year.
And I've had people who make that their primary target for 2016. My primary target for 2016 is to get rid of this debt. And when you are so connected to that goal, I've seen people, go through their closets and get rid of all their, have a garage sale.
Right.
And, and that money goes directly to the credit card, and to find creative ways to make it go faster.
Right.
So there are definitely, you can say, okay, I'm going to work 3 hours of overtime, if you have that ability at your job, and work 3 hours of overtime in a month. And I'm going to put that towards my credit card. And you will see how quickly it goes down when you find these little small extra things outside of your everyday, spending, to just, throw money towards that credit card to get rid of it.
Right. And statistically, I would imagine that the person who takes that route versus the quick fix winds up not going into the debt that they were in before as quickly, if at all, because they went through the steps to do it the longer, maybe more painstaking way.
Absolutely.
Well, and I also just wanted to comment too. For anybody, just to emphasize the importance of having a plan and really working with a financial planner. If someone's in that position where they're considering debt consolidation, I didn't. When I did that, I didn't close my credit cards for that reason, because I didn't want to take the hit on my credit. I ended up having to close them anyways, by the way, because I got back into debt, maxed them out, couldn't make the payments, and the only way for me to work with that at all was to close them.
Right.
So I ended up taking the hit.
Anyway, with double the debt.
Yes. It was, it was a disaster.
Yeah.
So to me, I think, I know better now, but anybody that's in that position, I personally have been there before, and it just, everything that you said happened.
Yeah, I know everybody thinks that they're going to be the exception to the rule.
And I did.
and it's with the best of intentions, but the statistics is that life will always throw you a curveball.
Exactly.
And as good as your intentions are, unless you have somebody to be accountable and to keep you on track, it's really easy to get off track again.
Yeah, because nobody knew that I put that first purchase on my credit card. I was the only person that knew. Right. And so then all of a sudden it's a big dirty secret that I'm using my
Well, and
credit
then
card
you've done
today.
it. You know, oh, I've done it once. I guess what's twice? So
right. And then you start believing your own lies. You know, it's like, okay, so I know that there are 5 paychecks in May. So I'm going to take that 5th paycheck and pay the credit card debt down because I'll have an extra $1,000 or $500 or whatever the number is to pay it down. Or I'm going to, clean out my closet and I'm going to get rid of, you start lying to yourself. And, it's just this ongoing, never getting to that conclusion, which is this is a challenge for you and you need to do something about it. Get a money coach.
Yeah.
Right? And
even just like
stop it.
That objective perspective, because there's so much. I mean, that again, going back to that first purchase I made again on my credit card that I cut up and whatever. Nobody knew about it, and there was pressure and like an expectation involved with that purchase.
Yes.
And so me not talking to anybody about it, I was just inside my head about it.
Yeah.
So then it's like, then
And
I'm
you
like,
justify it. I
justified it, and then I felt bad afterwards, and I'm like, well, I did this. I may as well put this on my credit card too, because I'm already doing it.
And a trip never costs what the ticket price
Exactly.
says.
Yeah.
So once you purchase the ticket,
then you
you
luggage
may have
and rental
to
cars
rent a
and
car, your luggage, food, hotel if you need to. All these other expenses come up that you did not anticipate when you ran that credit card and got that ticket, and now you're obligated to go, and so you're obligating yourself to spend even more money.
Twice what you thought you were going to spend.
Twice what you thought you were going to spend. Exactly. So let's try not to do that.
Yeah,
because you didn't have the cash to
I would
spend.
advise people to be very wary of these new. I mean, they're making it so easy and so hip, and so you can do it on an app. It's so tempting.
Wow.
But I'd advise people to be very wary and to really think about whether debt consolidation is a viable option for them or not before before downloading the app.
Exactly. Then now you have it.
Right there.
So that's a great answer to that question. And I'm glad we went into the depth of it that we did, because I think at first brush people kind of think, oh, either that won't happen to me, or, oh, I can consolidate. Yeah, don't do it. Get yourself a money coach, a money manager, someone to help you. Because if you're at that level of debt, whether it's you have 2 credit cards and you've maxed them out, or 1 credit card or 10, the pattern is building. So if you have 2, it could be 10. So stop yourself wherever you are and get the help you need to get yourself out of that situation. Would be my...
And again, I want to encourage, I've said this a million times on the show, but I'm so that personality type that I just want to do things my way.
Yeah.
And no matter what anybody tells me, I'm going to do it whatever way I think I'm going to do it. Right. And there does come a point, though, where it's like, Nathan, at what cost?
Yeah.
Yes. How many times do you have to go down this road, not you, but the person, before you see that this can be a problem?
So I'm that personality type. For anybody out there that's still thinking that they can do it, I'm that personality type, and I'm saying like I wouldn't do it.
And I've been there. So it can happen to anyone, everyone, and it does happen to most people at least once, where their credit cards are maxed out because they're not paying attention. Not everyone, but it has happened to me. And, I knew the exercise, and we went over that our last conversation, the exercise that I personally had to go through to get away from that level of credit card debt.
And, and actually, the issue is actually even more prevalent with higher income.
Oh, yes.
For people with lower income, it's still an issue, but it's not as prevalent. The people who have higher income often, you have a $50,000 credit limit on your, across your cards, and you debt consolidate, and then it goes to 100, and then you roll that 100 into your mortgage, and then it becomes, 200, so the higher income you are, it grows exponentially.
That's right.
So, it's a problem across all income levels, but just because you're a higher income, don't think that, I make more money, I'm going to easily be able to, pay off this
Right.
debt consolidation loan and
Yes.
keep my cards because I have enough income coming in to cover everything. Unfortunately, the statistics is that you're actually more prevalent to maxing out those cards and spending again.
Yes, and I have seen debt that is staggering.
Yeah. I was
You
just going to
know,
say it might not be
staggering.
$30,000 debt for those people. It might
Right.
be $100,000.
Oh, definitely.
And then
you know?
it's not so easy.
It's not so easy, and the card is now free and clear
Yeah.
to go back and use again.
And there will come a point where your home is not worth enough to be able to roll your new
debt
credit card
into-
debt into your mortgage. And what do you do at that point where you have a mortgage that you can't
Exceeds
refinance?
the value of your home.
A mortgage that exceeds the value of your home, you're underwater in your home,
Mm-hmm.
and you've now maxed out your cards again. So, at that point, you go into full shutdown mode. Excuse me, you potentially, could lose your home.
That's right.
And what you've done is you put yourself in a position where you didn't manage your finances early on. You didn't, work with somebody when you originally debt consolidated, and you've put yourself in a position where you might not have a place to live because you didn't, it's not going to be me. It's not going to be me. I'm going to be fine. I'm not going to consult somebody. I'll totally be able to do it. But all of a
that's
sudden,
those other people. They have a problem. I know.
exactly. And so now you cut to a few years later where you're potentially going to have to move back in with your parents you
Yeah.
pack up the kids, pack up the family, move back in with your parents in the Midwest because you've mortgaged your house to the T simply because you started with that first debt consolidation loan,
Right.
and not just paid off the credit cards
Paid off the credit
and
cards.
sucked up that extra interest.
Right.
I have a question that's a little bit of a tangent, but it's
Yeah.
on topic. So you talk about if someone really decides that it is appropriate for them to do debt consolidation, they need to change their habits
Yeah.
first. I know that there's different sayings and things about like how long it takes to solidify a habit. In your experience working with your clients, how long does it take for someone to solidify those new habits financially?
If it takes
And I'm sure it's different.
It takes about a month. So let's say it takes a month of doing something in repetition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you're looking at your finances once a month.
Mm-hmm.
You're really not going to build that repetition, right?
Right.
If you're looking at your finances twice a month, you'll start to build a little more repetition. But if you're doing it every 3 days or every week, you're going to start within, let's say there's 4 weeks in a month average, right? So let's say, by 6 months, you'll have built up that repetition, that habit. So it's all about, changing the little triggers in your brain and the way you do things. And if you can reprogram yourself to do something differently, probably I would say with finance, because if you were doing sit-ups every day, it's a little
Exactly.
bit different. But
Right.
with finance, I would say a couple of months. If you're looking at your stuff, if you're looking at your numbers weekly, a couple of months. Usually, when I take when some clients come in and they want to do more than just a one session, like, what am I doing? Let's get organized. Oftentimes it's about a 3-month process. And about 10 sessions, I see the most change after about 10 sessions. So, and usually in the first few months, I'm doing two to 3 sessions a month. So that's why about 3 months of
Okay.
working with
Right.
somebody, every couple of weeks helps really change the habits.
That's kind of encouraging to know,
It's
just
very
in the sake of
encouraging.
finance in general can be intimidating
Yeah.
anyways. But then changing your financial habits, really, how long is
Right.
that going to take me?
Right. So if you give yourself
Not necessarily that long.
if you give yourself 3 to 6 months, 3 months of the practice of it,
Yeah.
and 3 months of the actual doing it on your own, or even still with help,
Yeah.
you get it, so that by month 7 you should
Yeah.
be completely on your way.
And that is if you truly
Truly,
are wanting to make a
that's
change.
the other
If
part.
you are saying you want to make a change because that's what you should be doing, but you don't really, it's like me saying I'm gonna go to the gym. I should go to the gym, right? I can say it all I want, but unless I truly want to get healthier,
Right.
I might go to the gym. I might not. I might, go to the gym and stand on the treadmill for 5 minutes and read a magazine. So you have to make
I
sure
did
you have to make sure that you really want change.
Right.
And it's a really hard subject because you have to go really deep. You have to go really deep because sometimes we're very comfortable in the financial chaos that we've created. Sometimes, sometimes it's just easier to be like, I'm not going to look at it,
Right.
and I will just go with the flow. And it's hard to start to get organized.
Well, it's hard to look at it.
It's hard to look at it. It's hard to look at it. It's hard to, if you are making $3,000 a month and spending $4,000, but you don't know it, it's not that hard, right? You just put stuff on credit cards and you go on with. But if you are making $3,000 and all of a sudden you look at the numbers and you go, oh my God, I'm spending $1,000 more, a month than I bring in. Changes have to happen.
Right.
It's a very.
So you have to make these hard decisions.
And you have to
in
really
that case.
be authentic and true to
Right.
yourself. Are you ready? Are you ready to do this? Do you really want it? Do you really want the end result? Do you want to be, financially prosperous, or are you saying that you do because that sounds good?
Right. And you're actually comfortable in your dysfunction. Wow.